past is past. That's whatever has happened in the past is past. It is gone. Just like, I always say, whenever somebody comes to me and say, sir, this has happened, it is worrying me and things like that, I just ask them, have you brushed your teeth? Have you taken your bath? It's a new day, new life, new refreshment, new freshness. So connect yourself into the new things. Whatever your experience has taught you, all those experience, all those teachings which you have learned, use that teaching and do whatever it is possible. Before doing, the beingness has to be changed. And if you are a leader, if you consider yourself as a leader, taking up any kind of a responsibility at any particular point of time, 24/7, and love your own people, definitely I'm sure, whatever may be the crisis, where even if it is the world war, you will be the leader in that third world war. That's what I always strongly believe in. And it is possible by us, whatever we want to do, it is possible by us to do it. And any management, what we do normally is, we take along our entire team. That is what the leader has to do. So the team management is more important. We have to have everyone, because individually in any organization, nobody can achieve anything. It is a team which works together and the achievement is possible. The goal can be reached very easily. We have our own personal goal, we have a management goal, we have an organization goal. All these three goals has to match together and see that every goal is achieved with the work which we are doing. Now, with this introduction remarks, I welcome every one of you once again for this webinar, and I feel definitely this webinar will be successful, and the success can be measured only when at least one of you who is listening to this particular webinar is very much enlightened and is in a position to put everything in practice, whatever is said over here, or at least one item you take it up, put it in practice, change yourself, transform yourself. That itself will be the success of this webinar. I wish this webinar all success. Thank you very much. Welcome on behalf of myself, on behalf of BIMS, and on behalf of Bharati Vidya Bhavan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring speech. Really, we will follow the footprints which you have indicated to us, or you have suggested to us. So now I am inviting our Honorable Principal, Sir Dr. R.K. Patra, to enlighten us with the theme address.
Very good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Mandira. Good afternoon to all of you. Respected Dr. Ratan Sharma and Dr. Hitesh Shukla. And first of all, I have come to know that today is the birthday of Dr. Hitesh Shukla. So from this platform, I would like to wish Dr. Hitesh Shukla a happy birthday. Thank you very much,
happy
sir.
Happy birthday to you, sir.
We pray to God.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Safe and a comfortable life ahead. Thank you very much, sir. So today, we all are, thank you, all the faculty members, students of BIMS and other institutes, faculty members and students and representatives of corporates and my dear faculty colleagues. Thank you very much. And today we have organized this webinar on a very important theme that is called leadership for crisis management. As we all know, we all have passed through this pandemic situation. Really, this was a crisis for all of us. A lot of disruptions have taken place, but still the leaders are managing, leaders are running their organizations and institutions. So that much credit. So now from our experts, we will try to listen what are the tips they are going to provide us, how to be an effective leader and how to face the crisis and what are the challenges ahead. And I think we all are aware that Lord Sri Krishna is the ideal leader. We all know that Mahabharata and Lord Sri Krishna faced a lot of crises, but we all know that he has overcome all these crises by the strategic actions. this leadership, there is a saying, the leaders जिस जंगल से जाते हैं वो जंगल सड़क बन जाता है. Means, the leader should be a visionary. He must have the charisma and he must be having the magnetic power. And before the danger comes, you are in a position to detect the danger and forecast in advance that, hey, danger is coming, be careful. You must keep your colleagues, keep your team members aware to be ready to face the danger, to be ready to face the challenge. So we know, as we have already studied in our theory, that there are different styles of leadership: autocratic, authoritative, laissez-faire, democratic, or all these 7 types of leadership we have studied. But when we enter into a practical life, any one of these leadership styles may not work. So there you have to open your eye, open your ear, and scan the surroundings. What is the necessity right now? So as we all know that the famous leaders in the history, they have never gone to B schools, but still they are leaders. The best example, Dhirubhai Ambani. He has never gone to any B school, but he is a leader. He is now a conglomerate. Okay, so these sort of things, I will not take more time because Manjira madam has given me only 3 minutes. So I don't want to take more time. That is why, another thing the leader must possess, that is called clear and trustworthy communication. Communication is very important. If you are not in a position to communicate your ideas, your thoughts, your strategy, your action plan with your team members, then everything going to be a mess. So leader must be having at least clear and transparent in his approach. If you are not having transparent in your approach, and there are most important skills a leader must possess, that is called agility,
Sir, you are on mute, sir.
Patra sir, unmute yourself.
sorry. Oh, it was muted. I've done it. So, as I told you that we all, sorry, I'm repeating. As we all know that the today's theme is very important, and sorry, I could not check. So, leadership is a style. As we all know that ideal leadership example is Lord Sri Krishna. Lord Sri Krishna, you will know in Mahabharata, he has faced a lot of crises, but due to his able leadership style and strategy, he has overcome all the issues, and lastly, he was the victorious. The same thing applies for us also. As the leader must be a visionary. There is a saying that leader जिस जंगल से जाते हैं वो जंगल सड़क बन जाता है due to his vision, due to strategy. And we all know, we all are faculty and students, we are studying in the theory that there are 7 styles of leadership: authoritative, autocratic, then democratic, laissez-faire, coaching, affiliative. These are the different styles of leadership. But when you join in your professional field, any of these styles may not work, which I have taught you, Manjari madam has taught you in the class. So then you have to come out with a new style. That style is called innovative style. According to the situation, according to the environment, you have to decide the strategy. So this sort of leadership is very much required in organization, because when we are teaching the students, asking them what is your career objective, everybody wants to be a manager. But my dear friends, the organization needs leaders, not managers. And leader leads from the front only, not from the back foot. Okay, so and second thing is, leader must have a clear and trustworthy communication. That is very important. Trustworthy communication and transparent approach. If your action plan, if your strategy is not communicated to your team members, then there will be embarrassing situation for you, because there will be no coordination, no coherent situation on which you can work. So there is, the leader must be transparent. And in certain situations, we have criticized Hitler, Napoleon due to the autocratic approach. But in certain situations, this autocratic approach also gives you success, because at that point of time, you don't have so much time to take a decision. Instantly you have to take a decision. So autocratic style can take an immediate decision. So these are the things I wanted to share with you. So thank you very much to all the participants, all our respective experts, and my dear faculty members, and my dear students. And let me share only 2 lines about the BIMS, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science, Kolkata, is having beautiful infrastructure and excellent placement record. And our faculty members is our core strength, very expertise and having knowledge and expertise in academics as well as industry. So, and we are running 2 years full-time MBA program and 3 years full-time BBA programs at our institute. So you all are invited to visit BIMS when you get time. We have the contact details. Please give a call to us. We will arrange your visit. So thank you once again. Thank you very much. Because I have been given 3 minutes. I have already finished, I think, 7 minutes or 10 minutes. So sorry for this. I could not check. It was in mute condition. Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words of wisdom. So now I am inviting our honorable resource persons, Dr. Ratan Sharma and Dr. Hitesh Shukla. So before starting our sessions, I want to have a brief introduction of our honorable speakers. So on behalf of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science, Kolkata, I am giving a brief introduction of Dr. Ratan Sharma. Dr. Sharma is the Professor of Emirates, Delhi School of Business, VIPS Campus, Delhi, and the past President of AIMS. Dr. Sharma has a rich experience of more than 40 years in the field of education. He was the President of Association of Indian Management Schools, a body of approximately 800 business schools in the country during 2018-19. He is an alumnus of Sri Ram College of Commerce, Delhi University. Dr. Sharma began his career in teaching in an affiliated college of Delhi University. Dr. Sharma was also EFMD Fellow in Manchester Business School, UK, and worked on factors influencing abnormal returns on corporate equities in UK. He was a visitors nominee in the Department of Commerce at Aligarh Muslim University, Faculty of Management Studies of Delhi University, and also a member of Credit Appraisal and Evaluation of PICUP. He has conducted more than 200 short duration programs for executives at various levels during his career. He was awarded the Best Article Award of the Year by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India in 1987. Presently, he is engaged in studying the CSR activities in the Indian corporate sector. Welcoming you, sir. And now I am giving a brief introduction of Dr. Hitesh Shukla. He is the professor of Department of Business Management, Saurashtra University. He is an academic and shaper of the family business field. For 20 years, his insights, advice, lectures, and research have helped to develop leaders, professionalize businesses, strengthen families, and pass sustainable enterprises from one generation to the next. Professor Shukla advises families on topics such as long-term success, ownership, and family governance, developing next generation succession, transitions, conflict resolution, and family harmony, ownership and business strategy, professionalizing the family and business and life and career planning, selling the family business, and many other issues important to family enterprises. He is the recipient of Young Researchers Award 2004 by the Indian Accounting Association, Best Research Paper at National and International Level 2021 FFI Board Scholar Recipient, and Best Finance Teacher in India by AIWMI 2021. Currently, he is working with Saurashtra University, Rajkot, India, as a professor in the Department of Business Administration. So, with this note, I am welcoming our honorable speakers to take the dais and enlighten us with their speech. So, Dr. Sharma, please, sir, enlighten us with your speech.
Thank you very much and good afternoon, everyone. Respected Dr. Subramaniam sir, Dr. Patra, Professor Chattopadhyay, and others, my senior colleagues, those who are present. Indeed, it is a pleasure for me that I'm a part of what I say, a very important topic, which means... is my voice all right? Am I? Is loud and clear? Is it okay?
Yeah, it is clear.
Right. So it's indeed my privilege that I'm a part of what is for an important topic which BIMS really has come out with, leadership for crisis management. And also, in fact, we'll be talking with one of the very great educationists, Dr. Hitesh Shukla, in this context. Just briefly to mention what really is a part which Dr. Patra, in fact, has already summarized, and Dr. Subramaniam has also really mentioned very important points relating to the crisis management. Well, I think we are living in the crisis situation all through. I'm sure we all agree to this. We say as an academician that we are in a world what we refer to as the VUCA world. How do you pronounce it? V-U-C-A, VUCA, VUCA, whatever way we say it. V stands for the volatility. For the students, I must mention. U stands for the uncertainty. C stands for complexity. And A stands for the ambiguity. Now, VUCA, this in fact summarizes the world in which we are living all through day to day. In fact, whether it is the individual world that we are talking about, or individual life that we are talking about, or the social life we are talking about, or a business life, or a national life. So the point I'm trying to make is that we are in the midst of crisis all through. Some of the crises, they are very much predictable. We know it because we now understand what is VUCA. In the business, we know that changes are to take place, and changes are taking place, which is what somebody said so beautifully, that changes are the constant. This is important. Changes, we can know it. Changes will take place. Two things are certain, which Lord Keynes said once. Two things are certain. One was, he said, tax will be collected by the government, or any government for that matter, whether state, center, or national, or any government for that matter. And second, he said, was a death. It is certain things which is going to take place. Now, probably he did not realize, I don't know whether he must have realized it, but he did not say in so many words, change is another thing which is certain. Change is going to take place all through, which is taking place. Now, this change which we are really talking about, as I said, sometimes it is predictable, leading to crisis, we understand. Sometimes it is not predictable. Now, this crisis happens when sometimes it is not predictable. We are not able to predict it. So crisis refers to me a situation which is highly uncertain, something which we are not able to predict, and we are in the midst of it now, how to respond to that situation. Now, that is what probably I understand by the crisis. Now, this crisis is maybe at a global level, as COVID happened. I think every country was affected. This can also happen at national level. For example, in the defense matters, a country can fight with another country, or maybe economic problems and social problems, social unrest, possibility. Also at the organization level. And organization level, as a student of management, we are more concerned about that part. Organization, what really the managers should be doing. So maybe that can also happen. Individual level also some crisis happens. Now the whole question is how really to get out of this crisis, how really to manage the crisis, what sort of a response we should have it, whether it's a global level, national level, or at an organization level, or as an individual level. So we'll now probably focus on those strategies, though things are more or less the same. Everybody has to come out with that. I personally feel every crisis has a seeds of its own success. Somewhere we find we can get out of it. But also it has the roots of failure. If you are not able to do something, then I think there's a problem and we'll get failure. I will not be talking much about, in fact, in that, because we have an expert in this field, in the name of Dr. Hitesh Shukla. And I think let's first hear him out. What is that he is saying? Because I had a discussion with him. He had some of the cases, which are very important cases from where we draw lessons out of it, how really to get out, how to respond to the crisis situation. And I think that will be very enriching, in fact. So I think he's an authority in the case of managing the crisis and managing the changes in different contexts, whether it was in multinational corporations or in the family businesses. In both ways, I think ultimately these are important things. So I'm not taking much time, and I request Dr. Hitesh Shuklaji, please, I think if you can throw some light, then probably what we can do is we have something around 3:30 we are starting. Maybe you have some presentation. I'm sure you mentioned it. You discuss something, have a presentation, and then give us some time to have a question answers from the audience. And then probably we can conclude from that point of view. I'm sure it should be very enriching to every one of you, because the way Dr. Subramaniam started and Dr. Patra started, and now Dr. Hitesh Shukla will be coming out. It will be very, very interesting and enriching session for every one of you.
Yes.
So over to Dr. Hitesh Shukla.
Thank you, Professor Sharma, for the nice talk and making the ground clear for managing the crisis. I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah, it is.
Well, thank you. First of all, it's my privilege and honor to be with you all. And I must say thank you to Bharati Vidya Bhavan in AIMS, Professor Subramaniam, Professor Chattopadhyay, and Principal Patra sir for this opportunity to be with you all on a very nice topic called crisis and leadership. How can we manage crisis in our life? How can we become a leader? I'll say that the rules, the games are changing when we are talking about the crisis management. You know, there's nothing called an SOP for leaders who is managing the leadership in the time of crisis management. Just before 3 minutes, what happened here at my place where I'm working right now, my computer was also crashed, and one of my colleagues, he's kind enough to recover entire system just in few minutes, and I am able to be with you all on the same computer. So what I mean to say, a crisis can happen to you at any moment, at any point of time, and It's your responsibility, your reaction, your action, how you can act to that situation. All right, that's the role of leadership. It's not the leadership is not a position. It's all about your concern and care about your people, because I've seen in my life organizations built and break because of leaders. I firmly believe that leadership is all about trying to live what you believe and make it apparent to those who are around you. Start with leading by example. Start with your core values that you believe. Your team will see your attitude, your behavior, and finally your values. And that's why they will follow you. That's called the leadership ultimately in the time of crisis. What I've planned for today's session is I'll put here two case studies, how leaders have overcome the crisis and what are the leadership lessons we can learn from the situation. I know that leadership in crisis is all about to taking the control. It's all about deciding your direction and communicating well it with your team and with the community. Dr. Patra has rightly pointed out in his presentation that it's all about communication. I'll say that your preparation, it's a matter of minutes, it's a matter of second, or it's a matter of day for the leader to prepare. And your preparation is the mother of creating your competency. And I will say it's all about ACT, A-C-T. Here, ACT means the leader must acknowledge the problem, the crisis. That's the acknowledge is stand for A. C, he needs to communicate with his people and he should concern about their pain. Once he understands the pain of his people, he can better connect with his people through better communication. And finally, T stand for taking immediate action, because in crisis you cannot behave the way you are behaving in a normal situation. And that's why we will see this through these two case studies that leadership is all about not leaders are not only sitting at the top, but in the crisis many leaders will come out who are working at the bottom of the pyramid as a frontline managers, as the bottom of the pyramid. And I will say, with my conclusion, with my understanding of seeing various crises across the globe, the pyramid or the triangle of the leadership, top, middle, and lower level, will turn upside down. The bottom of the pyramid will be at the top, and all the people who are working there at the bottom will get the power because they know the market, the situations, the grassroots reality better than the people who are sitting in their offices, who are holding the positions. So the ears, eyes, and nose of that leader would be the bottom of the pyramid. That is the crux of the today's two case studies that I'm going to share with you all. The world has seen many global crises. I'll list out some of the crisis name, and we have seen it and we have faced it. Even we have faced the crisis of COVID, and that we are now going to, and we see some rays at the end of the tunnel. But what I have planned for you is two different cases in two different situations and how this is possible. The first case is from Chile. It's called Mission Accomplished. Let's see what it is. Can you imagine some people in one mind at let me share with you all a video here that will give you the entire case study. Is the screen visible?
Sir, only video is.
Video is not there.
Oh,
Video
just
is not-
just 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. It's a video case, so let's see it. Dr. Patra, can you see the video?
Yeah, this is all right,
sir.
I think.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Fine.
On August 5th, 2010, 33 copper miners enter the San Jose mine, 20 miles northeast of the town of Copiapo. None come out. San Jose is over 100 years old. Beneath the ground, 10 miles of tunnels form a dense labyrinth. Some of the shafts are nearly a mile deep. The miners could be anywhere, if they're still alive.
I was told that there had been an accident where 33 miners were trapped. We didn't have more information.
The first thing we did was a recon operation of the mine. It was very clear to us that there had been a collapse.
The entrance ramps were blocked by a large rock. It wasn't an ordinary landslide. All possible access routes were blocked.
But this is not just any rock.
It was very large, around 450 feet high, 330 feet wide, and some 100 feet thick.
It's a giant piece of granite weighing over 700,000 tons. It's now blocking the miner's exit, 1,600 feet down. Almost certainly, the rescuers will have to start drilling for them.
And the hours wore on. And when the minister came out, he said that it was more complicated than what it seemed.
Goborn and Sugaret bet the miners, if they're alive, made it to the mine's only shelter, 2,300 feet down. Are they there? And if they are, how are rescuers going to get to it?
So this is all about the case. This is the place where it happened in Chile. It's in South America. It was happening on August 2010. 1950. And more than 100,000 metric ton rock suddenly caved and blocked the central passage of the tunnel. The mine was 132 years old. It was in Chile. Can you imagine 33 men working at level 3? That was below the ground level, around 2,300 feet under the ground. And they're stuck there. Just in a moment, second rock fall, and that blocked the ventilation shift. Now, they won't get a fresh air. They won't get a light. They were in a lot of trouble. It exactly happened. Please note down the date. It happened on the August 5th. And they all come out October 13th after spanning record 69 days underground, and all the 33 miners had come out. They were emerged, fragile, but they were alive. That's a great lesson we have to leave. Can we imagine that 33 people just get down under the mine? There's no light, there's no water, there's no food, nothing. And they don't know whether some rescue operations were started at the ground level or not. But but it's a miracle that different people, different culture, different language people came and they created a team and they worked together for 69 days. And on 13th October, they all come out alive. How it happened? The miracle starts with a statement made by the then elected president of Chile, Sebastian Pinero, who once he come to know about the mishap happened in the Chile, he immediately come to the ground zero and take this control of the situation. He gathered the first-hand information. That is a first lesson for the leaders. Whatever happened, you must go and get the real situation, tap the informations and gather the information from the ground zero. And he is the man who created hope for the people. He made a statement on the television and made an air that this accident happened in Chile for the first time, and my country people were stuck in the ground, and we are not in a position to identify the location because this mine is 132-year-old. As such, there's no blueprint, and they don't have any technology to identify the location of 33 people, whether they are together or they are working scattered. But this gentleman, first thing, he made a statement to the family of all 33 people who stuck inside the mine that it's my responsibility as a president of the country that to get them out, whether alive or dead. See, this is a very, very hard statement the then president made. It's my responsibility and your government will try to get them out. That is the first lesson we all can learn, is the leaders should accept the responsibility and he should act and create a hope for the people, for the situation, for the better future. That it's my responsibility to take them out. Now we know that I don't have the technology and my people do not have this kind of experience. So he realized the role of the government to take the immediate charge of the rescue, and again made an immediate air to connect with the other countries and requesting them to collaborate with their technology, with their people, with their expertise, and help them to take these people out of that cave. So that is the very, very, first I said ACT, acknowledge, communicate, and take immediate action. Can you imagine? Now the pyramid, I said, the person who is at the top, the president, the pyramid upside down turn, and the man who was at the top, including the president and the other expert, they come to the down. And what happened now? They were thinking about the collaborations, who can come forward, which country will come forward to help us. It's the national corporations of Chile, they called the help. And what happened? I again repeat my word, please remember, the crisis will create identified new leaders. Young mining engineers, Andres Sagatu, he come forward because he know the hardness of the stone. How can we drill in the Chile's mine? Because he know this land and its chemistry properly. So he come forward and he created a team. Actually, these people are the people who are working at the bottom of the pyramid. Now they took the charge of the situations and they are giving the guidance to the top level people. That includes the president and other countries' people. They were communicating with the experts, psychologists were come. They know that now these people who are under the mine, they don't know what is happening at the top. They don't know, but they know that they may require some psychological treatment. The family members also require some psychological treatment, and of course the technology and other people's they required. So an idea come in the mind of the Suggestion, who was 24-year-old field engineer. He called some American people and companies with that technology. He know that they have a hard rock cutter. They can cut the stones faster and better than their technology. So he requested American companies and American president and government. Chile's own Navy, United Parcel Services, American drilling expert. 17 days, they try to search the location where these people are because the mine is too big. They don't know where these people are. And 17 days, they identified the location, and fortunately, they all 33 were together. And then once they identified the location, they took 52 days for the rescue operation. Now the great lessons for all of us is, they made a statement, we are well in emergency shelter, the 33. There's one movie called The 33 also, for the people who are interested more in this case study. You please see it and try to understand the situations, what happened psychologically under the ground. And now when you are in crisis, you don't know whether your plan A, B, or C works or D works. You have to work on a flexible plan. You have to first take the control and then think about the growth and all the things. So they have 3 plans. What the 3 plans were? The plan A was to create a hall of 950 meters. B was of 130 meters. That is a fast and quick and adjustable technology. Why this B plan? That was through that they can put some cameras and they can identify the location of the people. Once they have identified the location, you please see, after 17 days, they find the location. At that moment, they created a communication from the top to the bottom and bottom to the top. Now they have created hope under the ground. These 33 people come to know that, oh, somebody is working for us. Can you imagine? There were a very little food, very little water, but they have managed. It's not like that the leadership happened there at the ground, but leadership were there even under the ground. See, out of this 33, one people say that now we have this much of food, we have to live together, we have to work together, and we have to work together. So they have three plans. C plan, they have identified the locations and that they drilled it with the oil drilling machines. So 3 different countries, 3 different technology, 3 different plans. And together, these alternative approaches formed a rational and pragmatic basis for the belief that the rescue was possible for the underground. Now see, A plan was of Australian, B was of hammer technology of American companies of rescue, and C plan was drilling by the Canadian companies, and some Japanese people were there. Now I want to tell you, different people have different goals. Somebody wants to know the hardness of the rock. Somebody wants to test their technology, that how fast we can drill. Somebody wants to do some research. Somebody wants to understand the psychological situations of family members, country people. Political people have their political agendas. But how the different goals and means come together, put together for creating a common vision, common goal. That is very important for creating any organizations to get their people out. That is the ultimate, different goals, but they go in one direction and one line. So your direction is very, very important. And your control, see, the president himself was there throughout the day and night, and he took, along with the Suggestion, the young engineers who know the mines better, its geographical locations better than anybody else. So they were having the control of the situations of each and every moment. And finally, I told, leadership was also happened there at the bottom. Luis Urzeda, he was one of the supervisor, senior man. He was there. He gathered all the 33 and he helped them sharing the foods, giving them water. And once the communication channels was established, they get their food from the drillings, from the hall that they have created. So this was the leader at the bottom. All right. And finally, can you see? He's the man who come out from this massive, the last man to come out. And the president, including the 3 countries team and a lot of other countries, people working on the projects, their languages are different. They don't know their languages, but their mission was common to get them out. So meanwhile, Chile's Navy and NASA work building, and finally on 13th October, miners were come out, and the president was hugging each and every person, meeting the family members, creating the hope, connecting with the people, understanding the situations, have a flexible plan, and worked all together. So my question to you all here, what are the lessons we can have? What are the lessons we can have? Please remember, we will see the question and answer at the end, but the lessons we can see is all challenges gives us an opportunity to explore, experiment, experiment together. It's all about creating connection. It's all about creating collaborations with different technology, with different people, with different culture, and of course, to invent together. It's all about creating your team and to integrate a deep knowledge and idea, not just apply them. It's all about envision the future. See, it's a leader's responsibility to envision the future of the people, the organization, and very importantly, see, the president and the managers, they identify Sebastian who as having the better experience. So he is a change agent. So in situation, in crisis, you have to identify who is your change agent, identify it, enroll the person, and finally engage them. Engage them, give them freedom and flexibility to work on the project. The shift supervisor who was at the bottom of the pyramid, he was there under the ground. He took the leadership and managed the team under the ground. So there were 2 leaders, one at the ground and other is under the ground. And they managed with the foods and water for the 17 days. So that is the leadership's lesson number 1. You have to create the hope. You have to create the better future, envision the future, enlist the change agent, engage them to take the responsibility. And as a leader, you have to work very closely at the ground zero and monitor the situation, get the control over the situation. Because whenever you are in the crisis, your first lesson is to survive and then to grow. Once you survive, means you take the control on the situation, then you can empower. For that, you have to empower your people. That is the bottom of the pyramid. Now your pyramid needs to turn down, upside down. Now invite others. Please remember what the president of Chile, Sebastian Pinero, did. He invited the other peoples, other countries, other political parties, other technologies for collaborations, for a participation in their own problem. That means leader must surround the people who knows the problem better than you, who are more capable, who have better ideas, and you educate yourself on a day on and day in and day out. Surround with the better people and better technology and have a flexible plan. Don't rely or don't create one plan. See here, they have created 3 plans, A, B, and C. Even that plan were changing on every moment. Accept the change, have more plans, create a dream, and communicate well. See a bigger and better picture for the betterment and create a transparency. These are some of the lessons we can learn from these case studies. Now, quickly we are moving to case study number 2. And let's see another video.
Sorry to interrupt you. With your due permission, I want to say something to the participants.
Yeah, please.
So, dear participants, actually, we are having this rule that a feedback link is circulated among you all. Please, you submit the feedback link, and that link will be closed at 12 o'clock at night today. So, within that time, kindly you submit your feedback. So, I think at 4 o'clock, I will be circulating the feedback link in the chat box. This is my humble request to every participant. Please kindly fill up that feedback link. Thank you, sir. Sir, please carry.
Is the video visible?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Yeah, just wait 1 minute.
It's not visible, sir.
Yes,
Now it is visible.
now visible.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Now it's visible.
Dear friends, we won't have any history that any flight has landed over on River Hudson. But here, for the first time in the history of airline industry, for the first time in mining company, that 33 people can lie under the ground for 6 to 9 days. And can you imagine all passengers along with crew members were saved by breaking the rules. A pilot cannot break the rules of air traffic controller. You might have heard the instruction given by the air traffic controller to Captain Sully, that you have to take the plane back to the runway. And he know that both the engines were failed. And he is the last man. Actually, because of the time limit, I could not show you the entire video. But there are n number of videos available on YouTube, and a complete movie is available on YouTube, Captain Sully. Please see to it so that you can understand what the crisis was and how it was overcome by a leader called Captain Sully. He break the rules and he take each and every one out. What's the connection between the pilot and co-pilot together, how they were communicating each other, and what's the role of this crew member? I could not show you because of the time crisis. Actually, we do both the case studies for each case studies for 3 hours in our corporate trainings. Now let's see in a very quick look what happened there. It's again January 2009 in United States. Flight number 1549 took off from New York. And, you know, Captain Sully was there along with the crew members. It was some seconds that Sully needs to take control on himself, because when you are in problem, your mind says something, your body says something, your blood pressure has increased, but he's the man, he is self-controlled. And then he controlled his team, but he communicated very clearly to the people. Now, my question to you all, what we can learn from this entire video is that the first lesson we can learn is, like the Sully, he was communicating with his co-pilot that birds have hit the craft and both the engines were failed. He instructed him to see the rule book. Co-pilot were checking the do's and don'ts and SOPs in the time of crisis, and they communicated to the air traffic controller that this happened there. He communicated with his crew members. Have you ever seen pain on the faces? Yes. But when they go to the public, when the crew members talk to the passengers, they talk normally. Right. So keep calm and take action immediately. It was only 3 minutes and he took the decision in very clearly decision and communicated it with to the air traffic controller that I am going to land this flight on River Hudson. There is no history, there is no background that any flight was landed on river, but he know that I will. He believed on himself. He took the responsibility. Please see to the movie. It's a wonderful movie and it will change your life about looking at what is called leadership. He took the responsibility, never blame his co-pilot or any other staff members. He created a great team and he take the passengers out in next few minutes once the flight was landed. And Captain Sully was the last person. He take 2 rounds of the craft to check whether any person is inside left or whether anybody wants any need, and he's the last man who come out of the craft. That's the lesson. So what is more important is focus on the task at your hand. Build a great team. That is a great lesson. He communicated with his crew members and courageously take the decision, and it was his passion for excellence and configurations of that. It is the responsibility of leaders to create a culture wherein every individual is able and willing to bring his or her best in their organization. I repeat my word, please remember. It is the responsibility of leaders to create a culture wherein every individual, whatever position he or she is able and willing to bring his or her best. They needs to take ownership. And once your driver, I call them as a corporate driver, your managers, once they take that this is my responsibility, I am the owner driver of this organization, his attitude and his behavior will change. Take the initiative and other will follow you. It's your responsibility wherever you sit, whatever you do, but it's your responsibility to take immediate actions, ACT. Please remember, the motto, what's the motto? Please note on my watch. You have to say, it's my watch, it's my responsibility. Hold yourself personally and strictly accountable for what goes on under your leadership. That's a great lesson we can learn. What Sully's world after the success, see when he come out and he becomes the hero of the globe, entire TV channels, they were focusing on the leader. See, remember your each and every action, your words, you are under the camera. Your camera means your people see your behavior, people see your communication, people act as a camera, and they will communicate with the external world that what you are and how you are. So Sully's words is very, very important. You please see the entire video. It's available on YouTube. He said that it's not me. It's not me. It's we. And we were only doing our job. He focused, please remember, we is better than I. We is, larger than I. So he gives the credit to his crew members, passengers, even some boats and, yachts who comes to their rescue and help. He thanked them. He thanked each and every moment. The rapid and highly complex coordination is required for extraordinary achievements. This is what Mr. Sully, what in Chile happened were an extraordinary achievement, right? It required highly and complex coordinations among the team. So what is more important for you is creating your team, and your members must take responsibility and act on that. We need to know what to do and what not to do. He clearly told that his authority, Sully told to air traffic controller that I'm not going to land this craft to the runway because that's not possible. I believe, and if your people believe what you believe, then they will follow you. Please remember, once your people believe what you believe, they will follow you. Unless and until you will not make an impact in their life, they will never believe you. And if they will not believe you, they will never follow you. And if they will not follow you, you cannot create a great team. And if you cannot create a great team, you will not achieve your ultimate goal. That means you cannot bring your organizations out of the crisis. So what is more important is your people believe what you believe. Your team members should believe what you believe. So you must comfort your people. Don't give them stress. Help them to achieve their goals. Once your people will achieve their small goals, ultimately the small goals will make your goal, that's a bigger goal. And you serve them well. That is your responsibility as a leader wherever you are working. In any situations, Captain Sully was the last one who off the plane. You must be willing to make great personal sacrifice. See, in both the cases, you please remember I've made a presentation, 42 different crises of the globe, 42 different situations, 42 different countries. And what is common? You please see in these two cases, the leaders at the bottom, in the Chile's mine, the supervisor, he's the most senior man under the ground, come out at the last. Same here, the leader under the plane who saved the life, come out at the last. After checking the entire craft, and ensuring that everybody is now safe and gone out of the flight. So he's the one who off the plane at the last. That means you have to sacrifice your personal goals and personal wants and needs. This is the difference between a simulation. See, now what I want to say, this is a one side of the story. The another side, very next day morning, in the evening, Sully was the hero. He saved the entire craft, passengers, and he was the hero of the globe. Very next day morning, air traffic controller and aviations of United States, they call Sully for an inquiry that you put the passenger's life in the danger. You have disregards the instructions given to you to take the flight back to the airport, and you have to land it there. But he said, and they have created some simulations you can see on the B case study of Sully, and he said that the simulations is different and the reality is different. Sometimes your data may be different and your data may not be right. So I would like to conclude here. It's all about what you believe, what Sully believed that I can, I will, and I have to, because it's my responsibility. I have to take immediate decisions. I don't have, 69 days like the previous case study. I have to take decisions in maximum 2 minutes. And once you believe, your people believe, they will follow you blindly. If they believe your ability, if they believe about your concern and care, leadership and crisis management is all about managing your people, concern and care. Even in the time of COVID crisis, we have seen that earlier leaders' responsibility, they were transactional leader. Now I will say leaders are transformational leaders. You have to create a new culture. That's why I say it. It's the responsibility of leaders who can create a culture wherein every individuals who can take initiatives, who can take responsibilities and create ownership of their own organizations. So now, after the corona crisis, you might have seen that leaders' focus is not on the financials, not on the balances, not on the quarterly results, but their concern is more about their people. I know the first ever definitions, whatever book you open of management, it will say that you manage your people and your people will manage the entire situation that we can see here. When you think your importance, peoples are very important for you, that's the ultimate lessons for the presentations. I stop here my presentations. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Now all yours, Professor Sharma. You can start and we can have at the end interaction with the people and question answer sessions, right?
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Shukla. In fact, it has been very enthralling session and through the case study. And I'm sure everybody enjoyed it, but there must be some questions in their minds too. So I request if there is any question, please let us know so that we can have some discussion on that. Yes, please. Feel free to ask questions. Yeah, Professor.
Sir, very good evening.
Yeah, who is there?
I'm
Sonak
Sonak Basu from MBA third semester.
Okay.
So, very wonderful and enriching session, sir. And I would request if the case study videos and references can be shared. And sir, as we are entering into the corporate field, so how
you are not you are not
audible.
Audible.
I'm sorry.
Unmute.
Yeah, I had a technical glitch. Sir, I would request you to please share the enriched, case studies worth like watching and the references too. So, sir, it's a mindful session, and the case study videos which was like broadcasted here could we take in some presence of mind strategies and some activity sessions which corporates nowadays are dealing with. I mean, they are coming up with such counseling sessions, and it happens also across the world. So like, how can we deal with the active presence of mind when there is an overtime uh, when we are working in, and there can be situations wherein we have to give some advices, get the work going, and take some decisions which should be according to the social and the productivity interest of the organization. So how to empower from there and being a fresher and going into that phase, in the long run, how can it be more productive and sustainable in the corporate life?
Sir, Professor Shukla.
Yes, sir. Thank you. For the case study, both the case studies are available on Harvard Business School. Your principal, sir, Patra, sir, will make it available to you. These 3 case studies. Suli has A and B, and of course, the Mind case study is there. All videos are freely available on YouTube. You can access. There are movies on these 2 case studies. You can watch them. It is also freely available on YouTube. So first question I have answered. Now, what about the corporate and how we can create a strategy? I would like to share here very briefly about Indian case study, corporate case study, wherein a great leadership lessons we can learn from HCL Technology. Mr. Vidit Nair. When he took over the organization, everybody, I say it, your pyramid of the management, top level, middle level, and bottom level. When he sit at the top, suppose I sit tomorrow as the leader of the organization, maybe the chairman of the organization, and my people tell me that this is our history, this is our glory, and this is how we have worked. But can you imagine that's your past? When you come to know, when you sit on the chair, the reality is different. Vidit Nair, again, this was a great case study. You can learn, you can prepare a strategy. You can use this case study in strategy classroom, in leadership classroom also. How you can turn around your organization. He put, see what he put, he communicated, he called a meeting. When he come to know about the reality of the organization, that my organization is going to die if we will not do something differently. So he called a meeting of his all people, entire people, that from right from top to bottom, and he tell them the truth. I'm using the word the truth, that so many bleedings are there in the organizations. If we will not do anything, we will die very soon. And he requested his people that, can you please help us, giving us the new ways and means. Remember, when you are looking at the market, you have only two eyes. But when your people, 100,000 people are looking at the market, who are very closely connected with the market because they are the bottom line or front line managers, who are closely connected with the market, they know the market and the people and the customer better than you. You have to listen to them properly. And that man has turned around these organizations. A great lesson we can learn for the corporate in Indian context from that. And he gives us a new concept called, see, everybody say customer is the king and that things, but Vidit Nair say that employee first, customer next, and management last. But unfortunately, when we look, we as a manager, we as a management, we takes care about our interest first, then about our customer, and lastly about our employee. Whether we believe it or not, but please remember, any organization can be built good to great only and only with the help of the people, not with the technology, not with the machine, not with the infrastructure. All right. So that's a great case study. I hope I have answered your questions, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Any other question, please? Yeah. I'm sure you must be in the process of thinking. A very interesting session that we had it here.
Hello, sir.
Please, Mr.
Kaustav Datta.
Kaustav Datta, yeah.
Yes, sir. My question is, if there is an...
Kaustav, are you faculty or a student or what?
Students.
Student, okay.
MBA first year students.
Okay.
Sir, my question is, if there is something contradictions in our organizations, in our life, so how do we take our decisions? And whatever our decisions, how do we measure that it will be good for us, good for our organizations or not? Because we cannot see in future. So how we take up rapidly decisions in a few seconds? Because it's a skill, sir. So can you say how we take a...
It's not a skill, it's a mindset. Skill you can learn at any moment and you can upgrade. All right,
Okay,
leadership is all about your mindset.
Okay, sir. So how we take that very rapidly? This decision is really good for our organizations, our customers.
It's a wonderful question, Kaustav. You say that how something happened in your organization and how can you take lead and put these things forward? That is your question, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Exactly.
That's a wonderful question. Wonderful question. I would like to quote here again a wonderful case study in Indian context. Can you go back to Satyam Corporations, now taken over by Mahindra? I am the person who write in Economic Times on the day first about the case study. See, again you look, management at the top, Ramalinga Raju, independent directors, the entire team, And in the bottom line, they have decided to transfer the fund to unrelated business. They were into computer and they want to transfer the funds, and they want to switch their business to reality business, that is infrastructure business. And who take this lead and bring this entire scam in the light? It's not the management, it's not the any top position, it's not the auditor even. It's a small employee and minor investors who raise the questions, and they have raised the question that how can we divert our fund, how can we move to unrelated business that has a more risk, because it's not the risk of the management, it's the risk of the small investors, it's a risk of the employee, and then how the lights come forward. So we must have a whistleblower policy in our organization. That is a great lesson we can learn from Satyam scam. There are n number of case studies I can quote here, but we have to listen to Professor Sarma Saab. He is going to give us the final words on these entire sessions, right?
Well, I think, I hope it is all right, Mr. Datta. I think you know that Satyam case is what Professor Shukla mentioned. In the same light, you can also have the ICICI Bank issue also. I don't think the management did anything, or directors did anything, or chairman did it, or chairperson. And they were supporting, in fact, the MD. But it is the whistleblower, who really tried to bring the whole of the problems. So I think everybody has to participate in the whole process if you want really to be a part. So you can be a leader, in fact, in any capacity. You need not be holding a position. That is very important part of it. Thank you very much, Dr. Shukla. I think you very nicely not only answered the questions to Mr. Sonak and also to Mr. Datta about how really we should, and you also quoted Vineet Nair as to how and what in the management jargon we used to say that customer is the king, and then employee probably was forgotten even otherwise in the textbooks. And later on the shareholders theory that we talked about, but he brought in what we say the employees first, next is the customer, and then last is the management. I think that is a very important part. Many times we start quoting the Western philosophy, Western cases, but these are all extreme cases. We need to learn. Ultimately, leaders are in any country or any situation, they have the same sort of characteristics, whether it's a Chile or whether in case of India, for that matter. I think that happens to be there. I'm sure so nice of you for this, and for the I'm sure the time is also around 4:30. I think any question you might be having it now. Finally, any question, any final question before really we wrap up and we try to request for vote of thanks and other formalities. Any question? Yeah, sir. Hemant, Dr. Hemant, are you saying something? Dr. Hemant Panda, please unmute yourself. Sir, you please unmute. Please unmute. I'm not able to do it from here. Please unmute, Dr. Panda. Technical team, please help us to unmute Dr. Panda. Sir, you are saying something, Dr. Panda? No, still the voice is not clear. It's not clear at all. You're not audible. Something seems to be wrong. No, it is not coming out. Dr. Panda, it seems that we are not able to get connected. You may write in the chat in case you feel this is all right. Okay, since we said a last question, so any other person can also be a part of it.
No,
We are
sir,
not able to.
Sir,
So-
with your kind permission, can I add something? I thought they have questions, so we can continue. Otherwise, I would like to add something here.
I think you can have it. I mean, certainly, Dr. Shukla, please.
I tell you, all the people sitting here, why people follow you. I have a question for the audience. Can we ask the question to anyone that, can you answer my question? Why people follow you? Why people follow you? Is it your position? Then you are the poor leader. I don't consider it as a leader. They are the position holder. For me, they are the position holder. If people follow because you have the power and you have the position, please remember, just go one step ahead of leadership relations. People follow you because you made some impact on the organizations. You made some impact on the performance of the organizations of your department. So the data say that you have some contributions to the organizations, and that's why your people believe you. Again, please remember, I thought we will have a great question answer session, so I skip myself very limited time. But I tell you, when people look at the data and your data is transparent, they believe you. Once they believe you, they'll follow you. But I consider them as a formal leader. Now you just go ahead in the crisis. In the crisis, suppose in Corona, something happened to you or your family members, and at the time when your boss, your organization is asking you, hey, how are you doing? How everything is at your place? And you say that we are suffering from this and that. And he said, don't worry, I will help you. Please remember my word, each and every word. This will teach you a great lesson of leadership. I will do something for you means I'll help you getting out the bed in the hospital, getting you some oxygen bottles, some medicines, means you have made an impact on individual's life. Why these passengers of US airline made Mr. Sully as a hero? And they all come out when, in the case B, when there were problems raised by the air traffic controller against the Mr. Sully. The answer is that the leader has made an impact on individual's life, the highest level of leadership. Whatever you are doing is a part of your duty. Whatever I am doing is my part of duty. But when we are making impact on someone's life, individual's life, and take them from level 1 to 2, they will follow you. Can you imagine? One case study I would like to share with you that happens here in Rajkot, the place where I'm living. I know one organization. It's a very small organization manufacturing electric motor. Right, electric motor. And they were manufacturing only 300 pieces a day. With the same people, with the same technology. During the time of crisis of Corona, we have raised our production just by motivating, impacting on individual's life. It's not the technology that will make the change. It's not the rule. It's not the SOP. It's how you connect with your people. Can you imagine, I myself, though I'm a professor, not directly connect with the organization, but as I was helping them in, establishing their connections with their people, connecting the dots, I used to go to the factory. 7 o'clock was a time of what is called curfew. We reached to the factory in the evening at 5:30 with the food, and sometimes we stayed at the factory even in the night time, and we helped them. And can you imagine, in the time of crisis, we have raised our production 300 times. We have not invested in physical infrastructure. The reason, because we were not clear whether the demand will be continued, whether the market will accept our production. Because in finance, once you have outflow, you don't have reverse gear. It's a loss for you. So then, after 6 months time, we hired another place that is next to the factory. Why we have taken it on the rent? Why we have not purchased? Because we are not clear whether this situation will be continued. We will continue our production for next 6 months. We were not confident. I tell you the truth. We were not confident. So we don't want to invest. We don't want to increase our cost. And that's why we go slowly and gradually. And now we have hired a bigger place, better place, and start involving with the same people. We have upgraded our people. And then they are there to help us. All right. So you can make whatever situations you are. But ultimately, if you impact your individuals, give them some hope. See, please remember my words. Leaders' responsibility is to create the hope. Hope for what? Hope for others. Hope for your employee. Then your employee will take the responsibility. I see. Let's go back to our history. What Mahatma Gandhi did. He said, the great leaders of the world, Luther Martin King in South Africa, the gentleman. All right, what did he do? He said, we are the people who will be before you if something happened. Some unforeseen happened, we are there to take the responsibility. And if some, British army, British forces were beat you, Mahatma Gandhi said, I am the first person who will take the lathi. Okay? So you have to lead with the example. You have to lead it from the front. That is a great lesson we can learn from the history. All right. Any more question?
Sir?
Yes, Mr. Swagat, right?
Sir.
Sorry, yes. This is the last one, please. This is the last one.
First of all, good morning, sir. Good evening, sir. Sir, my name is Swagat Maheshwari. Currently, I am in BBA first semester. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Here, the example of Captain Sully has been given. So there is also an example of one Indian air hostess named Nirja Bhanot. She also played the role of leader during the time when the flight was hijacked, and in fact she lost her life in saving around 170 passengers in that aircraft.
Sure,
sir,
sure.
just I would like to know that what would actually spread that, why she actually just jumped to save so many. Sir, actually my voice is cracking or what? Am I clear?
You are asking why she led the situation, is that so?
Yes, sir.
saving the life of 107 odd passengers, etc. This is what you are saying.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Thank
Yeah, Professor Shukla, if you comment.
Yes, sir. Is this a question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, there are two. In my corporate training, I use the word. There are two kinds of driver. One is a driver who is looking for the salary, and the other is a owner driver. When you look at the situation, the owner driver is a part of the business family. Like you see, Tata. The ultimate level of leadership, the highest level. Swagat, can you please mute yourself? Thank you.
Swagat, you can mute yourself, please.
See, I said the first level is the position. Second is when you make the impact. Third is when you make the impact on individual. Now the highest level. Why? Why? Tata's organization, who is leading the Tata's organization right now? Is it the family member? The answer is no. The non-family members, who is the business driver, who is a part of the family, who is considered as a business family. See, the people who are working in the Tata, they are considered as Tata's family. And that's the reason why the staff member of Taj, they never quit. They never quit when there were terrorist attack. They were ready to take bullets on their body, and they saved so many guests because they know that if I will lose my life, my business family will take care for me. They are the owner driver. Can you imagine a 5-star hotel is having 6 different ins and out, entry and exit? Who knows all the 6 ins and out? Only the staff member. Just imagine wherever you sit. There is a terrorist attack at your place, at my place, and there are 6 different gates of entry and exit. We as a guest know only one gate of entry and exit in 5-star hotels. But staff know all the gates. None of the Tata's employee run away. But they faced the challenge. They took the bullets on their body, and some of them lost their life. That is called owner driver. That is the difference. And that is the responsibility of, can you imagine who took the responsibility? Just on that day, Hindustan Unilever's great party was going on in Mumbai Taj. And who took the lead? A small 24-year-old restaurant manager's girl. I'm not using the word madam or any senior member. She's a trainee. She took the responsibility. Can you imagine she instructed the family members, please separate husband and wife. Husband go on one side, wife go on other side. Because something unforeseen happened, at least one member of the family can be saved. Right. So all I have n number of cases on crisis management, but your answer is, if you have created a culture wherein every individual think that he or she can contribute, take the initiatives without fear of failure. Please, this is very important. Without fear of failure, then and then only you can create owner driver. Right?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
thank you, Professor Shukla. It's a great listening to you. We would have loved to listen more from Professor Shukla, in fact, because time is short and we are having lots of time. But can you throw some light on this? Hello? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, audible.
Yeah, this is Dr. Hemant Panda from Bhubaneswar, the principal and professor from Regional College of Management. I'd request Professor Shukla to throw some light on Air India crisis, very briefly, maybe within half a minute. Thank you.
Air India, I will not name any company, but all crisis is the crisis of the people at the top. Whether it's academic institutes, corporate, or airline, or even airline, right? There are great case studies. Once you change the motherboard, I'm using the word, very technical word. We change, or we try to change what is called RAM. And motherboard is the heart of the computer, right? So motherboard is your leader. When you have transformational leader, there are great case studies of airline industry, aviation industries, loss-making industry. The great case study of Blue Airlines of United States that has turned around because of the leadership change. The chairman of the organizations, he fly and try to understand. Indra Nooyi in Pepsi, she go to the malls and understand the customer's taste about the product, about the presentation. It's all about the commitment at the top level, putting their personal interests aside and putting the organization's goals and things at the center. Then whatever your decisions you take will take you from level 1 to level 2, right?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a great listening, great learning. Yeah.
Yes, we are done with the questions, and thank you, Dr. Shukla. I think it is very interesting, very enlightening sessions that we had it, in fact, from you. 2 case studies and the lessons that we drew as to what could be there for a student of management, how the crisis could be managed, and through the case studies, in fact, how have they managed it. Now, these are the extreme situations which have happened in the both case of Chile as well as the airplane. But I think the crisis happening day in, day out. I think these are happening. So we have to provide also the teachable clues to the students also, how really we should try to have, therefore, to conceptualize. You did, in fact, wonderfully a great job in terms of conceptualization of the lessons from those situations, because in any situation of crisis, I think things remain the same. So thank you very much, Dr. Shukla, and many, many happy returns of the day, because you got a birthday today, and I think it's a wonderful rally. And I think on this day, you have provided us clues how we should try really to behave in a situation which is a crisis. On my personal note, I must mention from the teachable viewpoint, I've been a part of many of those audiences, and also as a trainer, listen to some of those speakers, those who are a part of managing the crisis in different contexts. For example, immediately which has come to my mind is a Nestle which has come. Crisis in the context, Nestle, the Maggie episode which has happened, and the situation which was there all through, and how they are able to manage and come out, very well out of the situation. And this is for the students of management. I think you remember how Nestle really has come out. Also from Nestle is another lesson that we must draw during the COVID time. I think that the best situation probably they have managed, they said so, and the chairman said, CMD, he said it, we will not try to retrench even a single person. You continue with that. Now that gave a security to each and every of the employee which were working there. I think no other organization went to that far. And then people took over in terms of really helping the company really to do much more. And this is what I think you also mentioned, take care of the people, people will take care of the organization. I think it's a wonderful lesson in case of Nestle also. In the individual cases also, I think I remember our President of India, Abdul Kalam, mentioning about Mr. Satish Dhawan, ISRO case. Yeah. When he was launching the missile, he was a director, Mr. Kalam, he was the director. And when missile launch was failed for the first time, Satish Dhawan, who happened to be the chairman of ISRO, he took over and briefed the press. He said, no, I will brief the press. And later on, after a year or so, when the launch was successful, then Satish Dhawan really asked Mr. Kalam to address the briefing to the press. Now, that is what he drew. In fact, I heard him saying it in one of those, that he said, look, as a leader. And this was same thing which was there as a Colonel Wahi also. When it was a Bombay High, there was some fire which took place. And he was probably also narrating the same sort of incident. As a leader, you should be at the front when there's a crisis. You also said it, the Chile president, he was there on the ground, zero ground. I think there have been cases also, people have been adopting this situation, even any situation which is there in any country for that, because that is what an effective and successful leadership is all about in the crisis management situation. So Mr. Satish Dhawan, Colonel Wahi, which was happening, I think that has been a very important lessons that we need to draw. You need to be in the front as a leader when there's a crisis. And when there's a normal situation, you take a back seat. I mean, absolutely let people take that. So maybe for a student of management, and I'm now trying to probably conceptualize that what is that we look for it. Number one, we look for it, acknowledge the crisis. If you don't acknowledge the crisis, because there are people, I mean, I think we have heard changes taking place. There are some people who are a part of the change, and then some people wonder what is happening. I mean, they are not a part of the change. So, which means you need to acknowledge it. You must be with the facing their reality. That is a very important part of a leadership. Second thing is that you need to think in a way that these things can be worst. It's not necessarily what you are facing it. You have to be ready for the worst situation which may happen. And that is why Mr. President of Chile, he said it is the responsibility of the government to take people out live or dead. So I think both these situations can be there. So we should be ready for the situation, and then we try really to come out with strategies so that we are able to lessen the losses which are possible. And that is what really, even in the case of health books, personality books, etc., being said that, look, we should try to think how to stop worrying and start living. In that book, I think you think the worst thing is going to happen, then you have a strategy to withdraw from that and try to lessen that. So this was the second thing which I thought we should try to have it. As an organization, I believe so. Building a mountain of cash and get to the highest hill. This is very crucial. This happened in the COVID cases. I think you don't bother about the earnings per share. As a student of management, we are talking more about the stock market, ratios, etc., and other things. Nobody bothers about earnings. It's a question of the survival. And who can survive when you have a mountain of cash? Cash for survival. So for the organization, I think also there's a lesson that we should try really to have amount of cash which should be available. Another probably can be that you should not be taking all the responsibilities, which means you should try to be having a teamwork, involve people. And as Dr. Shukla mentioned, you may be brainy person, all right, acceptable. But I think there are many more brains if you are able to bring in. I'm sure you will be able to solve the problem much more effectively, and you are able to face the crisis much more better. And whenever there comes a situation, volunteer yourself. I mean, it's not that you try to give preachings. You do this, you do this, you do this. And that's what is very simple. Asking others to sacrifice, first volunteer yourself. And I remember Jack Welch, when Chrysler, there wasn't a problem. There was a salary cut was to be there. He said, I'm going to have a salary cut and I will have a $1 as a salary. I think it's a famous quote in his autobiography, which was there later on in the biography, is a very thing which he was mentioning. Try really to volunteer yourself for any step that you take it. I'm sure there's going to be very, very effective. Another thing probably can be, if you want changes fundamentally, basically, or which are required to be there, never allow a crisis to go waste. You never allow. Crisis will always give a situation. They will always try to put in a position where if you want to make changes which are longer lasting, which you feel they are available, you can really get into that part. And finally, we try to be a little aggressive in terms of when you take a decision. Accountability is there. Be bold in taking a decision. Believe that you can do it. And that's what somebody said so beautifully. If you believe you can, then you can. If you don't believe, you can't. I mean, you can't, then you can't. It's very simple. Believe in, and your history helps you for people to understand. And many times, operationally, you have to be decentralizing decisions, actions, but decision making has to be centralized. And there's what in one of the course of Colonel Wahi, when he was the chairman of CMD of ONGC, when this Bombay High that leakage took place, the fire, he from Dehradun to Delhi, Bombay went to the platform, Sagar Samraj, and he said it saying very simply, he said, I want to be there on the ground, simply because if I'm to take a decision, then I should be responsible, because otherwise people will say decision making is, people talk to somebody, then they will talk to somebody, then tell to somebody, and then finally it will come, again it will go back and so on and so forth. The decision making will get delayed. So I take very fast decisions from that point of view. It's very, very important from that point of view. So I think it has been a very interesting session. Dr. Patra, very, very important, in fact, talking in the present day context, particularly when the crisis situation we are faced and still facing. We do not know third wave or fourth wave. There have been blockouts in different countries, and we are still in a very uncertain situation. During that time, everybody, and there's what I read a book called by Robin Sharma. Every person is a leader, not necessarily what you have a position. And that is what reinforced what Dr. Shukla said it, and I was to quote Taj Mumbai, which is what is there. How, everybody was empowering oneself, look here, and there is a culture, and culture is being made by the organization. And I think what he was mentioning, I quote Dr. Shukla, he conceptualized better an owner driver and a business driver. And I think if everybody get empowered,
owner driver.
We all are drivers indeed. In fact, everybody is a driver. It's a question of the category of drivers which we are talking about. And the owner driver has a responsibility to create a culture by which the other drivers, they can freely do whatever it is without fear of any mistake or any punishment. And that is very crucial, sir. So I think it's a very interesting part, starting with Dr. Subramaniam ji. Is very nicely laid down really the foundation to begin with for the session. The theme, Dr. Patra. And then, of course, Dr. Shukla really came out so beautifully with the 2 case studies and 2 lessons, what has been a very important part of it. And of course, I must thank Dr. Mandira. She beautifully really came out, how really we should try to flow with it. And I think it has been very interesting. I'm sure everybody liked it. And the questions which were there by all of you, I think this has made also our life very enlightening and enriching. I was to quote Satyam, Dr. Shukla did. I was to quote Taj, which Dr. Shukla did, because these are in case. I thought I should withdraw because it fits into his thing. So let us try to get into that, because there have been in India a large number of cases which have been done. And I think that is why India is flourishing and prospering. With this, thank you very much to give me an opportunity to be a part of this wonderful session and having a discussion with Dr. Shukla. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm very much grateful to Dr.
Mandira Di, one minute, can you give me?
Yes,
Yeah. Sir, to all of you, let me just, in a very humble way, let me just say, in the BAMS also, we faced a similar situation of crisis, particularly in the COVID times, when we were not in a position to collect the fees from the students. But we decided all together that we will pay the entire salary. We will not retrench any particular employee, and we'll pay full salary to everybody as per the rules and rules there. And we have done that. And now today, the entire team is with us, and we are in a position to make the same level, whatever we were before, the same level has come back again, let me tell you. And everybody is doing a wonderful job over here as a team. I'm very satisfied, and I'm very satisfied with this webinar. Hitesh Shukla has done a wonderful job. Ratan Sharma has concluded it wonderfully, and question answer session. Everything, I enjoyed it very much, sir. Thank you very much. This would have been a great lesson for all our students, all of the other participants who are there in this particular seminar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And it's very nice to know that Bharati Vidya Bhavan culture prevails in the BIMS, wherein the whole salary and everything is being paid, in a very smiling fashion. Otherwise, in the education industry,
It's always there, sir.
There, apart in the private institutions, I think things are slightly different. And
Yes, sir. But it is different. It's a great gesture, sir.
I know that part, so I need not get into that.
It's so nice of this. Yeah.
Oasis in the desert or the ocean in the desert, right? This is what. Great, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Great learning. Great time. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. For I am very much grateful to all the speakers and to Dr. Ratan sir, to Dr. Hitesh sir, to Dr. Hemant sir, and also to our Honorable Director sir. Whatever the words of wisdom you have shared with us, especially for the students, because they are the future corporate leaders. And what they are learning from at this platform, they will be applying in their future assignments. So at this platform, whatever they have learned, whatever they have gained from you all, sir, I think they will definitely put into their actions and it will bring fruits for them. With this note, I am handing over the session to Professor Sriparna Bhattacharya for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Mandira ma'am. So we have come to the end of this wonderful webinar. We are really enlightened with the wisdom of knowledge shared by our all of dignitaries. And surely we will put this accumulated knowledge into our practices. And we are looking to hear all of you from in our future. And at the end note, we can only add that crisis is the true taste of leadership. So because during a crisis, the role of a leader shifts, and those that are truly great prioritize and respond to the need of the people that follow them. So if they get it right, they and their people will emerge stronger and more resilient on the other side. So a leader should be able to feel the early signs of crisis and warn the employees against the negative consequences of the same. So it is the leader's duty to take precautionary measures to avoid an emergency situations. A leader should be able to foresee crisis. The most essential elements of the crisis leadership is clear and trustworthy communication and their readiness to change. So before ending this webinar, I would like to opportunity to thank all of our speakers and dignitaries present over there, sharing their knowledge, and thanks to the last but not the least, thanks to the participants to make successful our events. I have two important announcements. I would like to request to all of you, all of our participants, to please switch on our camera that we can take a photograph. Please, I would like to request all of our participants to take a snap of this wonderful event. And one more announcement for the participants. Our feedback form has been shared in the chat box and it will remain open till 12 p.m., 12 o'clock tonight. And please submit your feedback form. As per your feedback, we will receive and e-certificates will be issued. Lastly, we are ending our today's program by playing national anthem. And I would like to request all of you, please stand up to honor our national anthem.
Shubha
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir and ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. It's a great journey.